Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is one of my favorite teachers in the whole world. Her name is Shannon Anderson, and she is here to talk to us about Th Extar Smile. Speaking of teachers, if you are a teacher, if you are a homeschooling parent, please listen to this. My favorite teacher in the world, my beautiful wife, was just got her free subscription, a free year-long subscription to Vooks, V-O-O-K-S, Vooks.com. She loves it. Vooks combines the love, trust, and safety of children's books with the convenience of online streaming for a whole new way to experience stories with a growing library of animated storybooks that both kids and parents will love. By adding movement, sound, and narration to existing books, Vooks brings stories to life, encouraging the love of reading while promoting literacy, imagination, and focus for children ages 2 to 8 years old. With Vooks, children can learn, laugh, and let their imagination soar, while parents can feel good about letting their little ones enjoy quality, guilt-free screen time. Right now, Vooks is offering a free 1-year subscription to every single teacher and homeschooling parent. This is really, really big. Check it out today. Oh, they also have free resources that go along with some of their most beloved titles. To learn more, go to Vooks.com. That's Vooks.com. V-O-O-K-S, Vooks.com. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Talk, Play, and Read With Me, Mommy, by Joanne Gramlich. Did you know that you can begin to talk and interact with your child as early as birth? Well, if you did, congratulations. You're on the right track to getting your child ready for the infant, toddler, and preschooler years. If you didn't, then Talk, Play, and Read With Me, Mommy will provide you and your child with many stimulating activities and games that are developmentally appropriate and designed to enhance your child's speech and language skills. There are interactive activities for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. These games can be played when you and your child have a few extra minutes during daily routine, during playtime, or story time. You can also use this book when you're on the move, so make sure you carry it with you wherever you go. We brought this book to Kids Expo in Chicago. We met many teachers, parents, kids with language difficulties, and also human service workers. They all loved it, and my beautiful wife, she loved it too. It's Talk, Play, and Read With Me, Mommy by speech pathologist Joanne Gramlich. Joining us on the line right now from Rensselaer in Indiana, a wonderful community that I had the pleasure to visit not too long ago. I can't say that she's my favorite teacher in the world because my beautiful wife is my favorite teacher, but our guest is certainly up there in the top 3. Please welcome back to the show, Shannon Anderson. Shannon, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent. People listening, you got it. I had such a wonderful time performing at Shannon's school when I was on my way out to the Chicago Toy and Game Fair. The school is just beautiful as a beautiful community, beautiful, beautiful kids. I was just telling Shannon, I remember there was one kid in particular who kept looking up to me and telling me why her parents named her what they named her. And and it was just so much fun. But I have to tell you, the weird thing I discovered about Indiana is that there's no timeline. It's just wherever people decide. Oh, we're in Central Time and we're in Eastern Time. It doesn't kind of matter. It's just.
Yes. Every city seems to be a different time zone.
Yeah. Everywhere I went, I go in and say, hi, how are you? And they go, yes, this is Central Time. And I go, okay. And how are you in Central Time? Well, I'm excited to have you back on. This is a little bit different. Typically, we're talking about great books that we can read with our kids, whether they're babies curled up on our laps or whether they're tweens or teens, books that we can co-read with our kids. But today, we're talking about a couple of great books for teachers and also for parents, especially parents who are homeschooling. And one is called Go the Extra Smile, and the other is Be an Amazing Writing Teacher. Let's, because you have such a great smile on your face, and I have one because I'm talking to my buddy, Shannon, tell us all about Go the Extra Smile.
Well, Go the Extra Smile is, it's something that I've done a lot of keynotes on for teaching conferences and things. It kind of started out when I was starting to get invited to talk to, kids that are in college that are preparing and learning to be teachers. I would get invited to talk to them like as seniors graduating and give them a little pep talk into the teaching world. And I also was fortunate enough to teach pre-service teachers at St. Joseph's College in my hometown for many years. Just loved mentoring people going into the teaching field. And I'm actually blessed that my daughter is going into the teaching field as well. She has 1 year left and she'll be teaching. Awesome. But Go the Extra Smile is all about that, doing the little extra things that get kids excited to be at school and, of course, in your classroom. Mm-hmm. My daughters both loved school all the way up until third grade, which happens to be what I'm teaching. I wasn't teaching that at the time, but, when you get to third grade, at least in Indiana, a lot of things change. It's a big transition year from those foundations. We're learning our sounds and our words and things. And in the math world, we're learning all of our numbers and we can add and subtract. But then when you get to third grade, it's all of the application level. So now, yes, we know how to read, but now we're going to analyze what we're reading and we're going to go into deeper comprehension skills and we're going to be reading tougher text. And the math ratchets up, of course. We're doing multiplication and division and multi-step problems and fractions and elapsed time, all these things. So the content's definitely tougher, but then also it happens to be when there's less recess and a lot more standardized testing and just a lot less of the kind of fun things they enjoy in the primary level grades. So when my girls got to third grade, that was the first year that I started to see them kind of lose their excitement about going to school each day. And it made me really sad, of course, as a teacher and I loved school all the way through. That's why I wanted to be a teacher. I just wanted to keep going to school. I didn't want to have to stop. So, it broke my heart that they were not excited to go to school anymore. So when I switched over to the third grade, I decided, you know what? I'm going to make this still a fun place to be. I want kids to want to come in the door each morning, eager to learn, eager to see what's going on and what I have up my sleeve. So I started coming up with just different things, over years, and it takes time to develop all of these, fun little motivators and activities and projects. But over time, I just kept adding things in, like little teasers the day before, like you are not going to believe what we're learning in math tomorrow, or some kind of hook, some kind of fun little game to kick off a lesson, or bringing in someone to talk to the kids about what we're learning in a real life way, like through their career or hobby. Mm-hmm. Just those different things that you can just do that little bit of extra that just pays dividends because the kids are excited when, it's not just the lesson. It's more of an experience. Mm-hmm.
Now, because I'm listening to you and I'm loving what you're saying, and I can attest. I know I've been in your classroom and I have seen all the exciting things that are happening. She has like a little stage in her classroom. It's like really cool. And the kids are excited. But as you were saying that, I could hear some of my teachers who are, they'd be 1,000 years old right now if they were still alive. But some of those teachers saying, we're not here to entertain you. You're here to sit your butt down and learn. And what do you say because I think there's probably still some of those teachers around. What do you say to them that it's not your job as a teacher to entertain kids? It's the kids' job to sit there and learn the material.
Well, what I say to that is the more fun and exciting you make it for the kids, the more fun and exciting it is for you.
Amen.
Seriously. Like, I spent this past weekend, I literally spent over half of my weekend in my classroom, turning my classroom into a campground. So we now have a great big campfire, and I borrowed camping chairs from family. And I just went all out. I've got the Christmas tree back out without decorations, so I have a pine tree, and I have all these other artificial trees around. And I came up with like these little pennant tents and put the kids in teams so they're in like little camp groups, and just tied everything in and surprised them. So when they came in on Monday, they entered a campground. When we were studying space, I had a rocket land in our room one day. And so there was this giant rocket ship that was from the ground all the way to the ceiling that my daughter helped me build. So just things like that, the little surprises, and then tying everything into it just makes it meaningful and fun, and the kids just really get into it. So I think it's totally worth it because, like I said, if the kids are having fun, you're having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, going into school on Monday, I was probably more excited than when the kids even walked through the door because I couldn't wait to see their faces and their reactions. And so I like it. It's just like Christmas, I'm more excited to see people's faces when they open the gift than when I'm waiting for my turn to open a gift.
Yep.
It's more exciting to see that joy. And I just get to see that day after day when you plan things that the kids enjoy, and when you keep surprising them, they love it. And then that makes it fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it was your kids, but someone recently some kids recently asked me, what do you love most about performing? And the person that said that had a big smile on their face. And I just turned that person around and showed the rest of the kid, goes, I love this, because this is what I get to look at. You have to look at me, but I get to look at these smiles, and that makes me happy.
Absolutely.
And I'm so happy that you would have said that. I was kind of expecting you to say, oh, well, when the kids are excited and invested, they learn more, and that's true. But you said that it makes you happy and it makes teaching more enjoyable for you. And all of those teachers that I was referencing that say, kids got to come in here, sit down and learn, they're miserable. And I've met teachers like that all over the country, and they're miserable, and they're just waiting for their pension to kick in, and they're hating the whole time. Teaching is tough. Teaching is a hard job, and if you're not digging it, if you're not having fun, it's miserable. So and you're right. When you make it fun, it shows, and the kids get into it, and the kids buy into it, and so perfect answer.
Well, I can also quote someone that I really admire, Dave Burgess, the Teach Like a Pirate guru. He says that if you provide an uncommon experience for your students, they will reward you with an uncommon effort and attitude. And I believe that. There's also the saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yep.
So if you can show them your love and excitement for learning, and for them, that becomes contagious, and they get excited about learning. I always call myself a nerd in school and laugh about things like, you guys will not believe what I did this weekend. Like, I studied this, or I wrote this, or whatever, and I just kind of poke fun, but get excited about the things that I'm learning and doing, and keep sharing that over and over with them. And then it's so cool when I hear things like stories moms have told me about, you would not believe, for Christmas, she asked for a globe and a math workbook and all these things so that she could do these things at home because she wants to be a nerd and learn like you, she said. And so I just love that when they get excited about learning things, and feel good about that.
Yeah. Now, does it also translate to the parents? Because one of the things I hear from teachers is that more and more there's this us versus them kind of feeling sometimes. Parents come in and they don't come in looking to be a partner in their kids' education. They almost come in sometimes looking for, you're not treating my kid right, and I'm here to brr. Do you experience less of that because your kids are going home excited, talking about the rocket ship and the campfire?
Yeah, I am all about, part of, I guess I should have told you when I was explaining for Th Extar Smile. So what SMILE stands for, I liked the saying, go the extra smile, because I believe in doing that little bit of extra. But SMILE stands for, the S is for search. So searching for those fun things that you can throw in, the little extras. The M is for motivate. The I is for intentionally plan. And the L is for link with students and parents. So I'll get to that. The E is doing a lot of the extras, like clubs and projects and things that can add to that. But the L, the linking with parents, is so crucial. I feel like, I know as a parent myself of kids going through school, I want to feel like I could approach a teacher and talk to them about whatever, if it's a concern or something that I'm excited about and want to share with them. But that is something, at the very beginning of the school year, I have a parent night for the parents to come in addition to a meet the teacher night for the kids to come in. So I sit the parents down and I talk to them about, different things that we're going to be doing, things they can expect throughout the year. And I always share, all my contact information. I usually end up becoming friends with them on different social media paths because they always give me permission to share things. So I'm always sharing things that we're doing in the classroom, that fun things. Right now, we're actually this week in the midst of parent conferences. And one thing that I'm doing with parents right now is a little secret mission project where I give the parents the dimensions of their students' lockers and ask them to bring in a decoration of some kind, because when we were in middle school and high school and had lockers, it was so fun, like if you were in a sport or an activity or whatever and someone decorated your locker, that was just, it made you feel so good. And at the elementary level, we don't have as much of that. So I always have in January when we have these parent conferences and we're, going into the second half of the school year, have the parents make something for their locker. So make their name like all fancy and some kind of theme that goes with something that they're passionate about or love. And then just to have like a couple motivational sayings maybe, and if they want to put something on the inside of the locker, and they usually have all different kinds of things that they put in there. There have been really cool ones in the past. Like I've had parents put a little mirror in there that says, this kid is awesome. So when they look in the mirror, they see themselves and see that little positive message that their parent left for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm just constantly looking for ways that I can get the parents to feel like they're a part of our classroom, because that makes a huge difference. If there ever is something that arises, an issue or problem of some kind, if you're already doing so many things with the parents and have that good relationship established, then you don't really run into those issues where it's the parent against the teacher. I invite them in all the time. This week we're doing game projects where the kids were each assigned a different skill that they needed to make. I gave them each a game board. They had to create a game using the skill I gave them, and every kid got a different skill, and they're presenting their games this week. And anytime we do a presentation of any kind, I always invite the parents to come in. And usually about half of them come in. Some of them can't get away from work and aren't able to. But they are always, and I always tell them, my door is open, you're welcome to come in. And I want them to be able to, they're practicing these projects at home with the kids. I want them to be able to come in and then get to see the fruits of their labor and get to see their child up there on our little stage that you mentioned and doing their project and showing the kids. And, I don't know, I just think it's great to involve those parents because obviously, we have to have that working relationship. And I feel like I see their kids and spend more time with their kids than they do during the school day, waking hours anyway. So it's important that we're on the same page and that we get along and that we can help each other out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know my wife, one of the things that she really loves is technology is enabling her to send on a daily basis. Oh, your kid did this today, and send a picture of the kids learning and smiling. And so it's kind of awkward before, to call the parent in the middle of the day and go, hey, just want to let you know your kid did a good job today. And she did that. But that's more difficult when you can just go on the computer and go, send a picture and the parents are so happy and are so invested.
Yes.
Yeah.
They appreciate it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us about Be an Amazing Writer.
Okay, so Be an Amazing Writing Teacher is another thing that I've presented for years. I taught first grade for 16 years, and then I was a writing coach for 4 years for 2 schools. And then I missed being in the classroom, so I went back in the classroom. But I've just always loved writing, and I write a lot of children's books, as you know. But being an amazing writing teacher, I finally was able to compile a lot of the ideas that I've incorporated in my own classroom and special projects. We're about halfway through a very special project that I've done for years where the kids get to write a story. I send it off to a company called Student Treasures that makes it into a hardcover book for them.
Oh, wow.
And then right now we're working on our illustration of the main character, and I send that off to a company called Budsies, and then Budsies makes it into a custom-made stuffed animal based on their illustration. It is amazing. The day that those stuffed animals come in is my favorite day of the school year because they are so excited to get to see this character that has just come to life from their imagination. They now have this tangible thing that they made out of their own mind and creativity. And so that's just part of one of the writing projects that I do. Every year I add a little something to it. So the first time I did it, I just did the book, and then we added the stuffed animal, and then I started buying a white dress that I let the kids decorate with their characters all over my dress, and I wear that to the publication party. And then the kids each make a book trailer to go with their book. And I asked the kids this year, I was like, okay, guys, I try to add something every year. So this year, what should we do besides the book, the stuffed animal, the dress? What else can we add to that? The book trailers. And a girl yesterday raised her hand and had a great idea. She said, well, you get to wear a dress with the characters on it. What if we had something with our character on it? So I am going to be ordering some white t-shirts in bulk, and they're going to get to decorate their own shirts to wear to the publication party when we have it. And so that'll be an extra fun thing that we get to do this year to add to our little book launch party that we have. We invite the parents in, and that's the day we display all of the books and the stuffed animals once they've come in, and the parents sit in the middle and they get to watch the book trailers. I stream them all together, so they're like a minute each. And we have cookies and punch and just have a great time, and they finally get to show off their book and their stuffed animal that they created. It's just been a really fun project, and they look forward to it, and they get to see the fruits of their labor from beginning to end, all the hard work of writing and going through the complete publication process from draft to published work. And then they get to enjoy, seeing all of that hard work pay off. So it's just really incredible to get to have a front row seat to that.
Yeah. And we talk about how reading with our kids, it helps kids develop a love of learning. And almost every single author, every author that I've asked about it has talked about it. LeVar Burton came on and talked about how he developed a love of reading, watching his mom read and sitting down, reading with her and her reading the newspaper to him and back and forth. So we understand how important that is with our young kids to help them to develop a love of learning. But we have to keep nourishing that. You have to keep feeding that. And that flower that's starting to blossom when our kids are 4 and 5 and 6 years old, we need to nurture that and continue to help them grow that love of learning as they go through third grade and transition into a different type of learning. As you were talking about that transition from second grade and learning the foundations to the application, I couldn't help but thinking of all the young magicians that I've known over the years who come on and they develop these amazing skills, and they've forgotten more skills than I'll ever develop in my life. But then you sit down and talk to them and go, okay, now you have to learn how to use those skills to perform, and that's something different. And wow, there are a lot of kids tap out at that moment because they can't make the change, and it's easy for them to tap out because you don't have to go to magic school, but you do have to go to elementary school and high school. And I think we absolutely owe it to our kids to help make that learning fun and help develop that love of learning. That's amazing. I love these books. I love that you're sharing them with us. And I actually think, I don't know, am I crazy to think that parents could use a lot of these strategies at home just to kind of reinforce the learning that's going on?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, as you're talking about that writing project, I can think of, we've talked about the value of creating a family history and passing down stories. Imagine what a great kind of months-long project it would be to have your kid interview different members of the family and grab those stories and then put them into book form and then have that book actually created.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, that lifelong love of reading often comes from sitting on the laps of our parents. I still remember, I have pictures of me sitting on my grandma's lap reading the little golden books. And I just remember that. And I remember always wanting her to read more to me until I could do it on my own, and doing that at home then with my little sisters and teaching them to read and wanting to read to them. But you could do the same thing with writing.
Yeah.
So, there are all kinds of ideas for just little writing things that can be a one and done in one afternoon's time, a different kind of poetry they may have never tried. That's an exciting, new creative way of expressing yourself. So I know as a kid myself, I did a lot of journal writing and diaries. I still have all of the diaries and journals from when I was a kid, and that was something I developed on my own. It wasn't something a teacher ever said, you needed to keep a diary or a journal. I just wanted to. And I always used to write little poems. And I'm sure it's much like, my girls love to sketch and draw just for fun. And so a lot of kids, if they are nurtured in writing, then they might want to do that for fun too. If they see the different ways that you can have fun with writing. That was part of why I wrote Monster and Dragon Write Poems. I wanted to show two characters having a blast writing different kinds of poetry. Yeah. So they're writing poems for a poetry contest, but I wanted to show how fun writing can be and show some characters having fun writing so that hopefully it will encourage some kids to try it.
That is awesome. When you started and you're telling this story about, the picture of you and your grandmother reading the golden books, I was going to make a joke about, they didn't have cameras back when I was a kid. But there's actually the youngest, there was a picture of me sitting on my maternal grandfather's lap with a book, and he passed when I was 2 years old, and it was my only memory of him. But it flashback, I was like, whoa. And so, yeah, it's so important. And if we help our kids develop that love of reading and then that love of writing, how empowering is that? You're giving them you're letting them know that what they think is important, because that's what writing is. We're writing down what we think. And you're honoring your kids with, yes, I care about what you think. And then you're also giving them the power to communicate. And that is so important because, boy, there are a lot of people out there that can't communicate without emojis.
Right. Yes.
And, we've kind of moved past hieroglyphics as a culture. We don't need to move back that way. We need to keep moving forward. Well, where can folks find Go the Extra Smile and also be an amazing writing teacher?
Those are both through Pieces of Learning. So you can just go on to piecesoflearning.com, and they have all kinds of wonderful teaching resources, but those two books are on there and available now. Yeah, they just were released last month.
That's awesome. And remind everybody where they can find out more about your great children's books and connect with you online.
So ShannonIsTeaching.com is my website. And so there's a tab there with all of my books and information and some resources. If you are a teacher or you're someone who loves writing or just want some ideas, especially if you are a homeschool teacher, if you go onto my website, there's a little sign up form. I do a little newsletter once a month. The first Friday of every month, I send out a free newsletter. And believe me, I won't spam you. I don't have time to write more than once a month in the newsletter. But you can sign up for that. And I just share things. I listen to podcasts, like this, to help me to always improve and learn new things. And I visit a lot of websites, webinars, go to a lot of conferences. And so it's just my way of taking what I'm learning and sharing it out and it's mostly teachers and writers and parents that sign up for that. And so that's kind of my target for who I'm sharing that information for and the types of things that I would share. So yeah, you're welcome to sign up for that and get something the first Friday of every month.
That is awesome. And that website is shannoниsteaching.com.
Yep.
That's awesome. We've had such a fantastic time speaking with one of my top 3 teachers in the world. She's the author of Th Extar Smile and Be an Amazing Writing Teacher, along with a whole lot of great children's books. Shannon Anderson. Shannon, thanks so much for being back on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. And I have to tell you, you had some rave reviews from when you visited our school. So I think your audience needs to know that you're an amazing presenter and have powerful messages for the kids. My principal was blown away. So yeah, you do an amazing job.
Thank you. Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Megan Shadlick. She'll be talking to us about the Healing Library. That is the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. If you are the author of a fantastic children's book, we would love to have you as a guest on the podcast. Being a guest, it's easy, it's fun, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic book. For more information, just go to our website, click on the contact button at the bottom of the page, let us know about your great book. We would let you know the next easy steps. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so very, very wonderful. Of course, want to thank my buddy, Shannon Anderson. Please be sure to check out Th Extar Smile and Be an Amazing Writing Teacher. Also want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan, for everything she does to make this show so very wonderful. She is awesome. Want to thank our sponsors, Vooks.com, Vooks.com. Vooks.com. If you are a teacher, you absolutely want to check out Vooks.com. Get a free 1-year subscription to a wonderful, wonderful service. Homeschooling parents, the same. Free 1-year subscription to Vooks. Also want to thank Joanne Gramlich, the author of Talk, Play, and Read With Me, Mommy. I mentioned my beautiful wife earlier in the show. I want to thank her for all the support she gives us. And most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.